I think it will run us in live. Hi, Rebecca. How are you?
Hello, Katie. Really well. The sun's shining.
Is
Makes
it?
such a difference, doesn't it?
Oh, it's been gorgeous, actually. It's not shining here today, but the weekend was stunning. Really nice.
Good.
So I am thrilled to have you on with us today, and we're streaming into the Facebook community, and also we're streaming into LinkedIn today, which I haven't done today. Sorry, I haven't done before with you, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that's so nice.
So hello, everyone. Some of you will already know Rebecca because she is a friend of Flexible Working People, and she's also now, excitingly, one of our official Flexible Working People franchise partners. Yeah, so that's really exciting, and I'm thrilled to have Rebecca on board. And as you know, we're committed, and we're on a real mission at the moment to bring you all sorts of opportunities for ways to work flexibly, not just in employed routes, but also self-employed, running your own business. And we know that there's so many people in the community who are looking for ways to run their own business. And so a franchise is an amazing opportunity for you to do that, which is why I'm really excited to have Rebecca here to talk to us about Get Ahead. And before we jump in, I just want to say that we did a Facebook Live back in, was it January?
Yes.
And off the back of that, one of our wonderful members of the community, Lisa, has subsequently started with you, hasn't she?
I know, it's wonderful. And I think it just proved to me that we're all in the right space here. And I don't think even Lisa was live with us. I think you kindly sent her the replay, and she just said it was like sort of magic. It all fell into place. And for me, it was wonderful to have those conversations because, as we've always said in the past, Katie, I don't believe in a way my regional directors and my franchisees often even know about franchising, or that franchising could give them what they're looking for. So I'm on a huge,
I think that's right. And I think that one of the things is that when you say the word franchise, it has sort of, perceptions, or you've got sort of preconceived ideas about what they are. And I know that I did too. And so since I've met you and seen and heard and got to know it a bit better, it's such an amazing opportunity. Yes. And I think people don't really understand what the costs are involved and kind of feel like they have to pay. So today we're going to lift the lid, aren't we? We're just going to say, let's start with what is a franchise? What does it mean? So I think that before you even think about whether it's right for you, we should just talk about and maybe kick off with what it means, like what is a franchise, what it means.
Yeah. So I guess, and you're totally right. I think before I'd even thought about franchising the business, I thought, you hear about these greedy franchise owners that, take people's cash and they never hear from them again. And I was so aware of that when I franchised Get Ahead that it made me even more sort of banging the ethical drum. But yeah, so a franchise is a tried and tested model that somebody would buy and have. In the case of Get Ahead, it's a 5-year license. So you pay to operate under that brand's name with all their branding, support, marketing, and it enables you as the individual to have the opportunity to run your own business, but to know that someone else has done it before you, that people are tweaking it, it's not, and it actually works, but also that you buy into ready-made support on an ongoing basis. And that's a big thing for me. It's about owning a franchise doesn't mean you just buy it and that's it. You get continual support, non-competitive allies as well in terms of the other franchisees, which I think is a huge plus. But it's something that's continually being tweaked. And, we're a member of the British Franchise Association. I wouldn't be a member of that or allowed into that if it wasn't an ethical franchise. So there's lots of things to sort of look for that give you those signposts as to whether it's a proper business that you're buying into.
And Get Ahead is really different to some of the other franchises that I've, worked with. It is really different. Do you just want to explain kind of what makes Get Ahead unique and what it is? So you're a VA franchise, but just explain what that means.
And I think that's often, we used to be, when we launched, we were Get Ahead, your virtual assistant, and that's what I was offering. I was offering assistant support for small businesses. But over the last 12 years, we've morphed into your agency because we provide such a wealth of support for business owners, from telephone answering and admin right through to PR, marketing and websites, for example. So my franchisees don't do the client delivery unless they really, really want to. So Lisa, that, as you rightly said, Katie, that's just joined us, she will potentially be offering a little bit of marketing strategy because that's what she loves and that's her passion. But ultimately, she will be going networking, finding clients who are generally the stressed, busy business owner that's like, I need some help here. And she will match that client to one of our members of our virtual team who are freelance. So we've currently got around 80 freelancers on our books operating under the Get Ahead name. They love being part of our community because they're continually being pumped with new opportunities of client work, and our franchisees love the breadth of support that our freelancers give, because it means they can always say yes to clients. Because you can imagine if you were buying a franchise and you were the only person in that, there'd be a restriction on your skill set and what you can offer. And I think that's a big plus for my guys. They love that scalability piece.
Yeah, so I think that's the key here. And I think that when you talk about VA franchise or VAs generally, you think about you're doing the work, you're actually doing the work yourself. Yeah. But in this case, you're not doing the work, you're running a business. And that's
you're running a business, exactly that. And you, so like I said, you can say yes to anything, because we can always find someone in the community to do that delivery. And I would say an overriding positive for franchisees is the breadth of support we offer and the size of business as well. So we can be supporting a startup, someone that's just literally launching, but we also support larger businesses that perhaps are looking at outsourcing as an alternative to recruiting. And that's really exciting as well. So our franchisees don't feel that they're sort of stuck in a particular niche of client. They have such a breadth of conversation, daily, in terms of who they're meeting. And networking is a huge part of that, but equally our website produces leads. I'm producing leads in the conversations I'm having. So the franchisees never feel isolated. And I think that's often a big challenge, isn't it, Katie, when you're setting something up yourself, you're thinking, oh no, I've got to have my branding, I've got to have a website, I've got to be doing this, and you feel like you're continually doing a million things. Well, with a franchise, you've got that structure. I will support the franchisees continually. They have a very bespoke induction, but they always can ask those questions. And I would imagine, for example, when you set up, it was probably quite daunting, wasn't it? Because you said, well, who can I trust to ask a question here? Because I'm having to be this wonderful person that's just launched and ticking all the boxes for everybody. And that can be quite daunting, I think.
100%. So you're right. As a business owner, when I set up, I didn't realise all the different things that I'd have to do that, were sort of, one minute you're wearing the marketing hat, and then you're wearing the finance hat, and then you've got to set up a website, and then it's just, how do you send out invoices? So I think we call it a business in a box, and it really is. And I think if someone had said to me, here's business, here's your website, here's your branding, we've done all of that for you, that takes away an enormous amount of kind of the planning and the prep in terms of setting up a business, which is why franchise opportunity.
Yeah. And it means you can really concentrate on what you do best, where you get your energy and joy, because ultimately people are going to be attracted to that. They're not going to be attracted to the stressed new business owner that's sort of not quite sure what they're doing. So that's I think a big plus point.
I think let's just talk about who would be right for a Get Ahead franchise. What sort of person do you think would make a good franchisee? What skills do they need to have?
Yeah, so if I look at the breadth of skill set I've currently got, generally all my franchisees have worked in a corporate environment at some stage in their career, but the overriding frustration has been the lack of flexibility. So I would say 90% of my franchisees have come to me when their kids are primary, just starting secondary. They know they want the next challenge, but they're struggling and don't want life to go whizzing by and realise that they've not tick those boxes for being at home. And that's ultimately why I set Get Ahead up in the first place. My kids had just all started school and I wanted that next challenge, but I didn't want to sacrifice everything else. I know it's a bit cliche, but we all know how fast life zooms by, and you want to be doing work that gives you fulfillment, but equally not stressing you at home and not being able to sort of see those milestones of the family around you. So from a corporate background, I'm finding marketing, recruitment to a degree, in the sense of the overriding skill set, somebody that's used to managing people. So I need someone that feels they can do that connection. So if you can imagine, you go networking, you find a client, you as the franchisee would work out what skill set and what support that client needed. And then you will visit our pool of freelancers, and we've got this amazing skills database that really helps with that. You put in the criteria and out pops different matches of freelancers, but you need to be able to sort of sell that job in almost to the freelancer and say, like, this is what I've got, and then manage an element of that client relationship. So I often say you need to be nosy, but then I got told off, and that's not the word, it's curious. But you've got to be curious enough to sort of unpick what a client is saying they want versus is that the reality, and then help them spec that role, but also be able to have the skill at matching with the freelancer, but also allow them, the virtual expert and the client, to go away and sort of manage that relationship together. So have a confidence to think, well, I've made that matching, I'm going to let them go away and do that, but have an element of project management with them as well. So it's sort of, yeah.
And how do you go about networking? So I think networking is something that people can be a bit terrified of. And
I remember my first networking. Oh my God. It reminds me of how I used to have to do presentations at school and absolutely hate them. But what I quickly realized was, when you're networking, because you're passionate and confident about the wonderful solution you're offering people, it's so much easier to talk about. So as part of our 2-day induction, so when we launch a new franchisee, so we mentioned Lisa earlier, Lisa came to me in Surrey and we had a full 2-day jam-packed induction, and part of that was centered around networking. So we talk about the type of 60 seconds you might want to talk about, the type of meetings to go to. And I will often say to new franchisees, just Google networking in your local area, and people are sort of bowled over by the number of networking meetings. And I think in Guildford, where I am, there's something ridiculous like 80 meetings that happen in a month. So we will unpick those and sort of recommend the types of meetings that are good to go to. And you'd be amazed, everyone in that room wants to connect and be interested in what you're doing. So yeah, we absolutely lead on the types of networking that work. And we have recently started a collaboration with Metro Bank. So in Reading and Basingstoke, so that's down in the south near me, Christy and Suzanne, who run my southern office, have linked up with Metro Bank and are now running a monthly meeting there. And that's paying dividends because we are all about connection. So that's been really interesting. And I run a good old LinkedIn local as well. So yeah, you have to be naturally interested, I guess.
So you have to want to enjoy that. And is most of the work done in person, or do you find
a real mix? So obviously with lockdown, that really helped us as a business hugely, in the sense, you can imagine when I was first networking 6, 7, 8, even 8 years ago, people would say, oh, how can I trust that one of your team's going to do the work if they're not sitting next to me? So we've really removed that element, but also everyone's become more efficient. So online networking absolutely plays a part in my franchisees' month, if I look at a classic month, but nothing takes away from that face-to-face connection either.
So give me a sense then of the types of clients that you're working with. Are they small businesses, local small businesses? What does that look like?
Yeah, real mix. So can be your local window cleaner, for example. So we will just do diary management and telephone answering. So telephone answering is an interesting one, because you can imagine when you're launching a business as a business owner, you want to give the right impression, but also if you're doing physical work like a window cleaner or even a building contractor, you'll probably be out on site. So telephone answering is a great one, and that's a good one for us. We have our team in Glasgow that answer those calls, so that's a lovely operation to do. PA support, so we've got for example an osteopath that again is busy doing the doing, so doesn't want to have to manage diaries and things like that. But then right through, so I've worked with a laser eye surgeon, for example, on Harley Street for the last 5 or 6 years, and he came to us because he said, I need to have some social media presence, and he was looking around at all his competitors thinking, oh, I'm not on there. And now fast forward 5, 6 years, he's king of TikTok, Katie. So we've sort of helped him gain the confidence on that, which has been really interesting. So really, really wide-ranging number of industries. And when I was launching Lisa, we talked about the different pockets, and actually I sort of drew up a sort of the top 50 industries, and it's amazing, from business coaches right through to much more sort of practical. So really it's generally the common denominator is it's somebody running their own business or part of a larger team that doesn't want to recruit and have the hassles of actually employing people. And then sometimes we'll work with the clients and we'll be that support for them, and suddenly they say, actually, we're doing 60 hours a month now, you've really helped us gain and grow our business, and we're now going to employ someone. And I remember at the beginning thinking that was a little bit of a negative, but actually now we see that really as a rewarding example of the high caliber team members.
Taking them, to the next stage of their business.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yes.
Okay. Well, how many franchises do you have? How many franchisees do you have at the minute?
I've got 8 in the UK, and then we launched in Australia 18 months ago. So when people come to me when they're interested, we will devise a territory around where somebody lives. So we use a very sophisticated software mapping system, and we look at where someone lives, and then we build this territory. And I always say to the team, they're always more juicy than people realize. They often say, oh, can I have a really big one? And it's like, absolutely. But because we're relatively young and growing, it's a wonderful time to join us, because there are so much opportunity around and territories that haven't been taken up. And when I launched the franchise 5 years ago, I decided not to have too structured a territory. I'd much rather work it around where the individual franchisee lives, because I want them to be able to go out and about. So somebody like Fiona that launched with me in Leeds, she's now added an additional York and Harrogate territories to her portfolio because she gained in traction and confidence and decided to do that. And the same with Christy and Suzanne, they've now got Surrey as well. So always really open to expansion, but it's ultimately about launching somebody in their home environment where they can go networking. It doesn't take hours and hours to get out and about.
Okay, so the key to our community is obviously flexibility. Talk to me about what flexibility comes to being a Get Ahead franchise owner.
So our financial model is based around part-time working, because that's what I wanted it to be like, and that's what I've managed to maintain, because there is nothing worse than feeling you've got to be working every hour of the day. And I don't work well in the evenings, but some of my franchisees love a bit of evening work and perhaps would have a slower start in the morning. So the opportunity is totally up for the franchisee to craft and make it their own. I just ask that, emails are responded to in a timely fashion, and obviously some networking meetings happen during the daytime. But in answer to your question, Katie, totally flexible. And because you as a franchisee aren't doing the doing, you don't have that time pressure. And I think that's a big difference, because imagine if you were having to do client work, you'd be sort of chained to the desk slightly, but it is so much more flexible, and you can craft your week. And some of the team might do other little jobs on the side. It's not 100% full time, but ultimately you are living the Get Ahead dream and being available and having those conversations as and when you need to be.
And what about the rest of the Get Ahead? Do you have, get-togethers? You talked about the sort of the wider network, and I know that there's lots of kind of interaction and engagement and support.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. So we have.
Are you? You've got
no, and the pool of virtual experts are dotted all around the country, but the franchisees have access to those. So you may be down in the south and working with somebody up in Yorkshire. That really doesn't matter. We have monthly lunch and learn. So we had one last week with a local financial advisor. So we were opening it up to the network to say, look, come on, we're going to add this value piece. So the community is growing and evolving, and I'm a huge believer in providing those opportunities for connection. And we've got, for example, a nutritionist running a 21-day detox program, which I was looking at my diary going, well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit that in because I've got few parties and things like that. But it's being able to offer those sorts of things are lovely. And that's really important for me, that it's not just about the work that people are doing. It's actually about having that lovely connection of a virtual community where you feel part of something. And that's really part of what, that's ultimately why I set this up, was to sort of bring people together.
And that's a massive advantage to being part of a franchise and not being on your own, because as an individual business owner, you don't get all of that, and it can be a really lonely place. So having support and people and networking is just, it's the whole
vital. And I think that non-competitive bit is critical for me. So with my franchisees, I have one-to-ones with them every month individually, and then we have a monthly call, and that's run by my marketing consultant, Brooke, and we have a themed marketing plan for every month. So it's bespoke every month for the franchisees, and we present that on that call. And that's always a lovely opportunity to sort of share best practice, ask questions. We have a hot topic within that as well, and our social media team will attend that so they understand what's coming up. And I think all those things make such a difference when you're feeling that you get direction and support then.
So I think the other thing that's important to say is it's not going to be for everybody, and so we need to work out, or people need to work out, is this right for them, but also are they right for you? It's a two-way thing.
It's totally a two-way thing, and people will often say, well, how much money can I earn from it? Well, it's £8,000 for a 5-year license, and I know, Katie, we often say that it's the price of a takeaway coffee a day for absolutely everything to set up and run. You earn that money back, but ultimately you have to be going out and putting time and effort in it to have those connections with clients. But we also provide leads, and it's sort of very much a two-way street. But like I say, it's not for everybody. Not everyone feels that they get satisfaction from running something themselves. They might like to say, well, I need to earn X amount every month. And that's another big thing. If you're the only salary coming into a household, you would need to be doing other things as well, certainly in the first sort of 6 months until you build momentum. And I can't have that feeling of responsibility and say, oh yes, you can earn it, you know, straight away. Like anything, it takes time to be known in a local area. But
so
once you're there,
you jumped straight in there to them, and you jumped ahead of me where I was about to say, now tell us about financials.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's just backtrack a minute.
Yes.
And start. So you've just said it's £8,000 for a 5-year license.
Yeah, £8,000 for a 5-year. Like there are startup.
And how do you pay? How do you pay that? Do you pay that up front?
Yes, it's upfront, but I can connect you to startup loan providers, where you can borrow that money and then you pay that back monthly. So there are different ways of doing it. And then every month, 10% of your turnover comes back to head office, and then 1% goes into the big marketing pot that supports various marketing initiatives. And like I said, Brooke manages our marketing every month. And I know that's a huge plus side. That's something we've done in the last 18 months. And to have your own plan and to know what content's coming through and things like that takes the headache away from having to manage everything yourself.
So 10% goes back to the office, and what percentage goes into marketing?
1% for marketing, but that's only after the first year. So 10% is a very sort of standard practice. I would say if you're interested in understanding more about franchising, look at something like the British Franchise Association website. And as I said, I'm a member of that. I'm also a franchise professional through there, and now a franchise consultant. So it's definitely worth looking just to unpick how franchising works. We have a all singing, all dancing contract, and we also provide all the contracts and all the paperwork you would need to manage your client base as well. And that's another big thing, isn't it? The whole legal.
Yes. So you talked a bit about providing leads and creating your own leads.
Yeah.
Is there an instance where you might say, actually, this has come in and it's in your territory, that's yours? They
absolutely. So I would say, right, that, and when Lisa launched last month, we spoke a lot about, I'm not naive. I want new franchisees that are well connected. So you may well come with lovely juicy LinkedIn connections and find that you've got people around the country that want to work with you, and that's absolutely fine as well. We just ask that you sort of are polite and sort of say, if there was you had a lead that was in from Leeds and Fiona was in Leeds, you would just sort of explain that and just say, look, this person is someone I've known for a long time and that they want to sort of connect with me. But no, and LinkedIn training is a big part of what we do. So that's part of the induction as well. So if you're somebody that looks at LinkedIn and thinks, oh, I don't know where to start. And I know you've got amazing resource within your community as well, haven't you, catered for LinkedIn?
Yes. Okay, so I think another big question just on the financials is, so it's £8,000 for 5 years, but what does that look like? And I know this is it can vary massively from franchisee to franchisee, but what do you say on average? You sort of said 6 months before you can start thinking about it becoming an income, but how quickly do you think people make back that investment?
Definitely within the first year. And I've got a really straightforward financial plan that I can share with anyone after I've had a conversation with them about it. I've also wrote a book about franchise, and it sort of brings it all to life with some exercises and things in there as well. So if you're interested, and I'm more than happy to send some copies out to people as well, because I know sometimes it's nice to be able to sort of read about things and see real life examples in there as well.
Amazing. And then I just wanted to touch on this business owner versus doing the work, because this is what makes it different. Yeah. So this is for people who want to run their own business but don't necessarily want to be a VA and doing the work. But my question is, because you said, well, if you want to do the work, you can. Is that an option to get to be a VA?
Yeah. No, so you can definitely do elements of it. And I would say, you couldn't go out networking and do everything if you were chained to having to do client commitments. But if you wanted to make the full margin on a few bits where it was your skill set and something you found really passionate about, absolutely.
So if your area was marketing and you got someone who wanted to do that and that's what you did and you didn't want to outsource that,
totally up to you. Totally up to you. And I think certainly in the early days, that's a lovely way of doing it. And I would say probably every franchisee of mine's had a handful of clients that they've worked on at the beginning, as I did when I launched. And actually doing that, living and breathing it yourself, makes it so much more, you're much more aware of what's involved then. And if it's something like marketing strategy, you might work with the clients on that directly, and then you might say, actually, all the other bits now I can give to other people to do and sort of add value that way. So yeah, totally flexible on that.
So that's great. So it's not like you have to pass everything on. You can make the full margin. And does everyone, do you have like a flat, this is what the get ahead rate is and everybody charges the same? Or do you
we give guidance on that. And obviously all the virtual experts have a set hourly rate so that we will totally support you. And we have a mentor within the franchise team. So when somebody launches with us, they're not just sort of left to their own devices or just chat to me occasionally. You know, you're linked with a mentor who's also a franchisee. So that really helps in terms of making it really supportive, and you're not left to your own devices. Oh, sorry. I won't go into the details of him, but no,
is he a franchisee or she a franchisee?
No.
No. So, another good animal on a Facebook Live. We had that yesterday as well. Okay, well, you've given us tons of great information about it, but I think people still obviously want to find out more. But I'm interested also, they obviously set up a call and talk to you.
Yes, and that's where it really makes value. And I've had some calls where we've had a chat for an hour, and others where we've had 10 minutes, given the insights, and then so you'll immediately know if it's sort of interest.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. I think just, if you're interested at all, set up a call and chat to Rebecca.
Absolutely, I love it. I love a chat.
And I know you love a chat, and there's no obligation at all. It's like, have a chat, and if it's right for you, you might know within 10 minutes or an hour. But how lovely when you speak to somebody and it is right, and we change their lives.
No, I love it. I know, I absolutely do. And I think our website's got some good examples. I've got prospectus I can send out, and also some Q&As and case studies. And then sort of further down those chats would be then having a talk with one of our sort of living and breathing franchisees, which makes a huge difference because, they're very much there to add support and knowledge.
So what's the timeline, Rebecca? When we had our Facebook Live in January, and you obviously started talking to Lisa, and she's now started, she's working. So what's the general timeline from starting?
Probably from having a chat to sorting it can be with the earliest would be a month probably. But I'm very
happy and set them up, and there's no set inductions. If you take someone on, you'll start an induction at that point.
So we have a 2-day in-person induction. So we work very much. I'm thinking it's end of May now, so probably we'd be looking at a September launch with the holidays and things. But totally flexible to how somebody wants to be, and it's got to be right. And I think I've had some conversations, and then it's taken 6 months to come to something, or much quicker than that. So I'm not going anywhere. So it's got to be the right thing for everybody.
Absolutely. Okay, so next steps then, I think we'll pin this into the Facebook community. I know this has gone on live, but Rebecca is available. Connect with her on LinkedIn, have a chat. We'll put a link in to set up, so people can set up a discovery call station. You've got a calendar, haven't you, that people can just pop in your diary. I would really encourage people to have a chat if this is something that they're interested in, because it's a proven model. Rebecca is the most ethical, lovely franchise owner. I just think it's such a gorgeous opportunity for people.
I'm going to be at the franchise show, actually, sorry to interrupt, on the 9th and 10th of June with Ashton's, the franchise consultancy that I work with. So again, if anyone wants to have a bit of, actually meet up in person, that's at Olympia in London. So that might be an option. And I think the meeting up is important once someone sort of.
I think I'll come to that and come and meet you and say hello. And
good idea. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. Okay, well, now we've got a date, but please get in touch with Rebecca if you are interested at all. I think we've had a whistle-stop tour today, but you've given us a really good insight into what it means to have franchise, what it means to have a get-ahead franchise, and all the lovely support that you offer.
Yeah.
So I hope that we get some lovely people getting in contact with you and helping them to find their flexible.
Totally. Lovely to chat as always. Thank you.
Always lovely to chat to you. I hope you all found that really useful. Please get in touch with Rebecca or me, and I can connect you to Rebecca. See you soon. Thanks, Rebecca.
Thanks, Katie.